Hello and welcome to the Red Room. Our guest today is our favorite Canadian guest. Back to the Red Room. Possibly the only as well. Yes.
Uh, Probably the only one that
No, not
returned.
true. Yeah, you're the only one that I know that is Canadian. There may be some previous guests that were Canadian as well. I don't know. Mr. Josh Peters.
Hello.
It's the
I,
second or third time.
this is our
Uh,
third time. Our third
Ah,
time.
yes.
I thank you for the invite back. It's good to see you both. I nice digs. How's the new place working out?
Except in terms of should I say that audio, the audio
Acoustic.
quality. Yeah, the acoustics are worse because it's a wooden floor and the space is larger, so it's echoing sometimes. So
Which is good. I mean, this means we have space.
yeah, we have more
Yes.
space for the
We still have
Yeah.
space for books because you see
yeah.
here we still have space for more books, which is also good. We don't have
Yeah.
space for more drinks there under Miguel
No,
or for more
and
Red Room books.
this is the red room shelf. This one here, and it's outside.
I seem to see a lot of drinkable Red Room products at the back.
Yeah, also, yeah, mostly drinkable, yeah. But there's one shelf that is only for books, and it's overflowing right now.
Yeah. I'm.
So, what have you been doing since last time?
Last time I checked, it was December of 2023. Well, what have I been doing? We have. It's well. Let's see. In terms of Stella Gamma Publishing, let's start
Yeah,
there. Let's get
we can
business
start with
business
Telegram, yes.
business before pleasure. There we go. So I actually had to make a list. I went and consulted with Omer and made a list. And wow, so we have released in May of 2024 FTL Faster Than Light Nomad, which is our in-house 2D6, but our own system. We call it the XD6 system because I'm a stickler for algebra, and so it's the XD6 system, which is a modified 2D6 system that allows you to be very quick. In terms of there's very little math. The math is built into the system in some ways, rather than having to add or subtract modifiers. It's just all there with dice. So that's done quite well. We're very pleased. It's a streamlined, fast, light science fiction rule set with a lot of depth, a lot of options. And with those, we have released not one, not two, but three. We've got the Customs Job, which is by my colleague Richard, and so that's an adventure for Nomad. We've got Synthoids, which is about making androids or genetically custom clones and stuff like that. Very Blade Runners, lots of Blade Runner jokes when I edited that one, and Spacecraft Go, which is also by my friend Robert, who last year by Robert, and Spacecraft Go is more spaceship options for the gearheads and things like that who want more and more options. And I was hoping it'd be done today, but I guess not. But this week we should see a mecha supplement that I spent the last few months writing up. That should be published in PDF and later on in hard copy. And so that's been doing pretty well. Then let's see. In April of this past year, we did a Kickstarter for the second edition Sword of Cepheus. Notice the heavy metal cover. So this released in August. We kickstarted in April, and later on we can talk about the foibles of kickstarting. I was thinking about those. And so that's the second edition. It's it was released in August and is now in print and demand. And that's like a completely expanded, revised, revamped, compatible with CPS Deluxe Enhanced Edition, which we released last year. It's got new art, better layout. It's less Dungeons and Dragons and a lot more sword and wizardry, sword and sorcery sort of game. Let's see. It's got full encounter rules to dynamically create adventures while you're traveling. Lots more GM tools. The magic system is really scary. Basically, if you decide to play a sorcerer, you definitely have a best before date in this game. Every time you cast a spell, there's a chance of corruption. There's a chance of mutation. There's all sorts of horrible things that can happen, and the spells are usually a lot more powerful. We actually separated them into the sort of normal spells that are still rituals, like 10-minute rituals, and then the eldritch spells, which are really scary, and those are the ones that usually you're going to be fighting against, I think, rather than trying to cast, because they're scary. Different monsters, original magic items. We decided to move away from things like +1 swords and things like that. It's not we really moved away from the D&D idiom as much as we could to really make it something a little more unique and interesting. And for that, we have so far just one. We have this is Escape from Miklagard, which this was released for OSE, but we've just released it again. We've just revamped it again for CPS, for sort of CPS. So, and we're hoping to have some more adventures soon. Let's see. What else have we done this year? We did CPS Lite. We released it with better layout and cleanup. That was I'm always surprised that people are interested in CPS Lite. Not that they shouldn't be interested in our products, but that it was something that Omer and I wrote once we got our hands on CPS Engine, the toolkit. And we really simplified the toolkit, and we changed things, and people really react well to it. The people who like original classic Traveler are like, we like CPS Lite. It has the same feel, and so we have a small, steady following of people who like that game and who want it, and so we decided we'd re-release it just to clean it up. It'd been almost, like, I think 5 years, I think, at this point. So we have actually something you're familiar with. I don't have a hard copy of it, but for CPS Lite we have the Rousette, or I don't know if it's Rousette or Rousette Aliens supplement that you guys I think edited, that's it for CPS Lite. For Quantum Dark, we have Quantum Dark Aliens Companion. So Quantum Dark is our little it's for the Quantum Engine, which is the Quantum Starfarer engine, which is a very light, extremely light rules engine. The Quantum game is like maybe 60 pages, and this is about the same. And so this is like Aliens to add into your modern, urban fantasy horror sort of games, to add alien conspiracies. Let's see. I mentioned mecha, but I'll flog it now again. So the Nomad mecha rules have got full construction rules. They've got combat rules for adding mecha into normal combat, and six setting seeds. So not fully developed settings, but basically I wrote like a 2-page spread on a setting with some adventure seeds and some sample mecha and things like that. So, for example, there's a sort of standard science fiction, slightly almost post-apocalyptic world that's undergoing a massive civil war. So you've got mecha in that one. I did one that's World War II, but with mecha, because there needs more of that. And things like mecha racing, and then a couple that are a little more standard. giant mecha that are piloted by feudal knights. Like one well loved set of products, and another one that's about transformable spacecraft that turn into giant robots that also might be familiar to certain people that we grew up on as children. Yeah. Those are just some of the things in mecha. It's a pretty light rule set. I don't go crazy with the construction rules. I keep it very, very. That's what I'm looking for. Like, you build the thing you want, and then you pay for it in terms of actual money in the game. You don't. I don't put limits on things like you can't put this many guns or too many guns on a chassis. You can, but it's going to cost you in terms of money, and also there's a chance that you can have some sort of design flaw that will screw up the game. There's ways to randomly determine design flaws, that's that's. Let's see. Oh, wait. Okay, so that's what we've been doing. That, as far as I know, that's everything we published this past year. It's been a busy year, it's been an interesting year to be publishing games this way and writing. I'll say that.
Well, I'm going to say one thing that is good is that when people say that we publish too many books, we can always use Stella as an example. We're not the only ones.
Yeah, that was
I just picked up Uncharted Cs. I was thinking, like, wow, I think we're almost not there. We're almost at Red Room levels. The difference is that, like, so I wrote Mecha alone. Cepheus Light is a Redux, so that's not really written. The FTL Nomad stuff, that's 4 of us are the authors of that. 3 of us are the authors of Cepheus, Sword of Cepheus, 2nd edition. Mick Lagarde is for Sword of Cepheus is a re-release with modification of rules. The supplements are quite short. Yeah, you're still way ahead of us. It takes 3 or 4 of us to get. Like,
yeah, well, now we're slowing down. Including this during the last year, we had several things that were made by other people, and this year I don't know yet. Maybe, but nothing that I already know. So the whole Vigilante line wasn't mine. It was the DOG GM, and there were several other things that other people did.
Okay.
We're waiting to check out this year not this year, next year, what will happen.
You're slowing down in your old age, right? That's
slow down now.
No, it's good. It's good. No, I haven't been able to really crack open Uncharted Cs yet. What I did see, I really like the illos. The art is really nice, and I really like the theme. I was thinking just how much love the Portuguese explorers don't get, right? Forget the modern politics of
definitely not
exploration.
Not just the Portuguese, the Spanish as well.
Right, but I mean, we just don't like we know about Vasco da Gama, but that's about it. Like, I mean, I'd have to like look at notes that when I teach exploration, like who are the other Portuguese explorers, right? And
their names are even worse to pronounce than Vasco da Gama, because that one is kind of simple. It will be much worse to pronounce Diogo Cão and
Bartolomeu
Dias.
And we can say that Fernão Magalhães, it was translated.
Magellan.
Magellan.
His true name is not Magellan.
I thought Magellan was Spanish.
Sorry? No, he did the trip for the Spanish, but he was Portuguese. And his name was not Magellan, was Magalhães. I'm not going to
dare. Not Ferdinand Magellan, but Fernão Magalhães.
Yeah, his name was actually.
No, this is not going to work.
Impossible.
Well, the English, using the English name equivalent is it's okay, right? We say Christopher Columbus, we don't say Cristoforo Colombo or anything like that.
Yeah.
But that's but no, I did not know he was. I did not know he was Portuguese actually. Although I guess
Yeah, I
that
think
doesn't
so.
surprise
The
me.
trip was sailing for the Spanish, but the guy was actually Portuguese. I don't know if he
Right,
did some sailing for the Portuguese crown, probably, but not the famous
okay,
one.
right. No, it's interesting because it has that whole foray into the Indian Ocean and taking over the Indian Ocean spice trade and blocking blocking the Red Sea and things like that. It's it's interesting because unlike like if you're talking about exploration, and I always map this to science fiction because that's what I'm going to be running all the time, right? I almost never run historical um, or fantasy, although I have been this year. Um, the thing about the Portuguese exploration is that they're exploring into places that are already um, discovered. They're already they're already quite established. They're already known, and they're also generally wealthier than the Portuguese were, right? And so you show up to like India or Persia, which are like super wealthy part, or China, which are super wealthy, and um, and in some ways more advanced than the explorers themselves. It's a different dynamic of gaming, right? And of the kinds of adventures aren't you know you're not um, playing Cortez against the Aztecs. You're doing something else, and
Hmm.
um, it's more. It's I don't know. It's I think there's more opportunities for intrigue and just generally everything. And so that's why like when I saw that you released that, I was like, okay, this is great because it's actually something that I've been thinking about in terms of um, different ways of doing exploration gaming as opposed to you're going the sort of North American, or I should say even the British, the Anglophone version of this is very much like you're going to go west into a frontier and there are natives, but they're easy to handle, right? They you have to deal with them, but they're not. It's not like the Portuguese going into the Indian Ocean. It's like, oh, there's like the Arabs and the Indians and the Chinese and the Persians and all these established civilizations. It's a different. It's an interesting way of running a campaign. So I'm really looking forward to cracking that open. I I was looking at your stuff and I'm like, oh my god, I actually haven't been able to crack open a whole bunch of these books, these PDFs. I've been so busy. So it's hopefully in the next couple weeks I'll be able to finish one book and be able to actually read a gaming book. So
Yeah, that's the same here. I rarely have time
Yeah,
to
I would
check
like
out.
to do some reviews or overviews
Yeah,
of
that's
other
why I don't
books.
do
But
reviews.
yeah,
It's
we don't have.
almost impossible. I mean,
Oh,
I
look,
do
I'm
have
going to
time,
read another
but
real
when
role playing game.
when I finish my day working on RPGs, the last thing I want to do is to read more RPGs. So
no,
I will,
absolutely.
I will read a book, but okay, a novel or something else. I will see a movie or something like that. But okay,
Yeah.
reading another RPG after a whole day of working on RPGs, it's a little bit difficult.
Mhm.
So
No, I completely understand. It's I've been for me it's been I don't have the it's the bandwidth in terms of like, okay, so I finished the day at work, I come home, I'm going to uh, hang out with my family because I'm contractually obligated to, as my wife will remind me, you know, and then I have to and then I've got to do some work, and so I'm doing some RPG editing or writing, and then or prep for my own games, and then it's like, all right, it's time to go to bed, and then I'm like, am I going to crack open a book? No, I'm going to pass out. Let's go. Um, yeah, it's that's just how it is. But no, I was looking. I the Uncharted Cs looks really really good, and I'm pleased that it came out. Yeah. Let's see.
you mentioned
What's
science fiction. I was now I remember the first time we thought about this. We were thinking about adapting the thing to a science fiction setting.
Yeah.
But then we just gave it up and
We went
published
with the
it.
story,
Yeah,
the
and then
historical
started.
version.
But first we had thought about doing a version, but in space. Portuguese in space. Not
Well,
with
it's it's really it's actually how I run my science fiction games. I don't I don't run in a like established traveler sort of giant imperium. I don't like that at all. I find it's a little dull. Um, and I know that I've just literally alienated half my fans about that because Stella Gamma, we publish for that sort of stuff. And I'm sorry, everyone, but that's just me. It's not that I don't love you. I just don't love the Third Imperium. And basically, for me, it's all about like my the setting I've established and that I run things in. There's no interstellar space police. There's no interstellar government. So you show up in a port, you show up on a planet, you show up somewhere, and it's anything goes. And sometimes the planet is, primitive, and there's people there who they know what a spaceship is, but they haven't seen one in 100 years, and they haven't ever built one. Um, or sometimes it's a planet where everyone is more advanced than you, and you've got a hold full of cargo that's super valuable, and you better be really smart because they might just take your ship and take your cargo and throw you into a jail somewhere, and that's it. So you that sort of dynamic is much more, I think, the dynamic that I like. And to get that, it's really what the Portuguese did in the Indian Ocean and to China and things like that. It's established cultures that are in some ways more advanced and certainly wealthier, and that are already playing a very dangerous game, and now there's a new player playing a dangerous game, and that's much more interesting than I think expanding westward metaphorically on a open frontier. I don't know. That's just me. Let's see. I'm supposed to talk about. I spoke to Omer. I'm supposed to talk about the things that are coming up, and let's see. So off the top of my head here, I've got. We have for Nomad. We have rules in Nomad for making creatures, but now we're putting out a book of how to make more creatures. That's by Richard, so it'll be very detailed, lots of technical stuff. He did work on for Outer Veil. This is like 10 plus years ago on when you encounter a planet, how advanced the sort of biosphere is in terms of evolutionarily advanced, and how complicated the creatures are, how complex the life form is, and also things like how compatible they are to human biology to eat them. And so I'm sure that's going to be a great supplement. I've actually got it on my desktop, and it's in the queue for editing. We've also got an adventure for Synthoids called The Presence. I have, again, I'm looking at these things on my desktop. We've got Solar Sagas. So Solar Sagas is we released it for Quantum Starfare, which is the rules light, and we're just gonna clean it up and adapt it to Nomad to unify that, and it's a full setting of like planet, not Sword and Planet, but like planetary punk, like Buck Rogers and sort of a pulp Buck Rogers diesel punk sci-fi sort of thing. So in the Earth, in the solar system, different planets are inhabited by different aliens, and it's you zip around on rocket ships. Let's see. So though there's that. There's adventures for Nomad and for sort of CPS that are in the hopper somewhere, that are in the queue. I'm going to be working with Robert to release something called the Nomad Companion, which is basically some some rules, and some extra material, including conversion rules for this is what I've been thinking about a lot is conversion rules for between Cepheus Deluxe, so between like the sort of standard 2d6 game and Nomad, but back and forth. So converting from Nomad to Cepheus or from Cepheus to Nomad. Rules for expanding the skills in Cepheus. So instead of 7 skills, we'd probably go up to 15 or 16. And just a whole bunch of different rules and little things. I think Robert's working on power armor, things like that, just to play around with the rules and offer some options. And then I'm told that my next writing project is going to be the a sort of space exploration, trading, drifting, and grifting supplement that I'm calling the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, although I think that might be taken. And I think I may have mentioned that on a previous video, like last year, that I've been thinking about this thing called the Hitchhiker's Guide. The players instead of having a ship and zipping around where they go, instead it'll be more like, well, hitchhiking, or I should say at least, like drifting around without a ship and taking up jobs and sort of having like a full set of encounter rules for that. And that's either going to be a very, very large book or I'm going to have to abandon. I think I don't even know anymore. I don't know what it is, so I'm going to have to sit and really work on it. But that's it for us. We've been busy. We've been very busy, and it's good. Let's see. I was thinking about things to talk about, and one of them here I have is editing bottleneck. You're talking to the editing bottleneck right here, right? Oh man, I really like it's it's fine. I'm glad to edit everyone's work, and it's perfect because I get things. I get at things that everyone appreciates, but then first of all, it slows down everything, and that's just what it is. But also on the Discord, like someone today or yesterday just published a spreadsheet where they analyze the treasure tables in sort of Cepheus, and I'm like looking at like the average expected values, and I'm like, oh no, like I should have done that, and I should have fixed things. Oops, But
so you're always the editor.
Well, yeah, when I'm not writing, well,
yeah, really,
we all edit each other's stuff. So when I submitted the Mecha manuscript, of course, actually Omer, Robert, and Richard all edited it. Some more for style, others more for mechanics, others more for certain choices. Because everyone needs to be edited. Like when you have something like that, you're close. Everyone's too close to the when you write it, you're too close to the material, right? It needs to pass through someone, just because they're gonna catch things that you just are, in terms of your cognition at that moment, you're living in it. You can't edit it. I mean, I can edit my own stuff for style, right? Like I can rewrite it and be like, oh yeah, I'm reading it and like, oh, I don't like that phrase. I can change it. But I can't edit for like content or game mechanics, right? So my own stuff, that is, right? Like someone else has to do it. It's only fair. But no, I've got a lot on my plate, which is fine, and I don't want to complain because it's good times. But it's like, okay, so I've got this, and then when am I going to write my stuff? And that's what it is, right?
Yeah, we have that problem, I would say, because
we have the problem because we
don't have an editor. We have the editor sometimes.
There's an editor, but he doesn't edit everything. And well, sometimes there is no editor.
And it shows sometimes.
Yes, we have to edit ourselves. or
And
proofreading?
I would say I do proofreading because I'm not good at editing. I try to proofread Miguel's, but I'm not very good at it. Yeah, I
So
miss the details. I'm a fast
you're mostly
reader.
looking for typos than anything else. Having a
I'm
real
actually I'm not a great proofreader. Like I can do it. I'm a proofreader, but I'm going to only catch like let's say I catch 70% of all the typos, right? Of all the problems, right? And that's just it. Like I yeah, that's what it is. Also, I'm finding too. The like we use Office and we use Office 360 and the word what I'm finding is that there's got to be glitches in the um, track changes functions. Like I'm like I know I caught that. Like you see something later on and you're like I know I caught that one. Why did the track when you just say accept all changes and all of a sudden it's all done and we're like oh okay but we'll see.
I use
But
WPS. It's not the same as Word, so it's just a free version. I don't know if the paid version is better, but I'm using the free version, so it's just for that it's not really good. I used Grammarly for some time. It picked up the typos, but sometimes it was too slow
right.
because it's online,
No,
so there's that problem.
And sometimes you did some changes that
Yeah,
you
it's some
actually
changes
like.
that really.
It's like, why did you change that? Now it sounds worse.
It has some things that you can modify,
right,
but
right.
by default it would turn everything politically correct. And so, no, that's not what I want. So
Wow.
no.
No, I don't let artificial intelligence near the manuscript. In terms of I'll let it. In terms of I don't mind for like grammar like commas. I'm very it turns out I'm very pro comma and no one else is and MS Word is very anti comma and I'm like comma I like commas. I'm not like William Shatner or anything. I just like the commas. I think that they kind of calm things down. They calm things down for the reader. Take a breath. Stop and smell the roses. Enjoy the sentence. It's okay. But no, apparently not. So, you know, I guess if you're printing, does the little commas, do all those commas add up in terms of ink wasted? Maybe that's what that is. I don't know. But yeah, it's anyway, what it just means is, yeah, like I'm like, there's an editing bottleneck. Someone said to me recently, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll work. It's okay. I'll work. It's good.
So how
Yeah,
many hours a day do you put into role playing game work?
into editing. I mean, a week it could be anywhere between. Let's see, if we do an hour. I mean, it could be anywhere from just like 5 hours a week to. Like if I have days off, like especially like I have extra days off, then I could be working like a lot more. Um, in the summer, I did edit. I was editing and writing. We did for the manuscript on Sword of Cepheus 2. I was editing every day, if not full days, at least half days, but in some cases full days, and writing. And it's that was something that it was funny because when we I think what happened with that project was when we started the second edition, it was going to be like, okay, well, we're just going to clean up the first edition and turn it into like make it compatible for Cepheus Deluxe instead of Cepheus Lite. And we're going to clean some things up, and then it rapidly transformed into, no, we're going to completely redo this and make this much bigger. I mean, it's A5, but it's like closing in on 400 pages, something like that. It's almost. It went from 100. It went from like 100-page or 80-page manuscript to like in Word to like 250 or something like that. It was wild. And yeah, so that was that. It ballooned quite large because I think we really just at some point I turned to Omer and I was like, look. We have a chance to like make a milestone game here, do it, and then we can walk away from Cepheus Deluxe until we ever want to come back to it, right? We can still put out things for it, but in terms of like, we really kind of feel like because of the OGL scandal and some other things that have happened since, we really want to move on to our own game system, and people really seem to like that system. So why not, right? I don't know if you guys have been following this, but Mark Miller has announced that Traveller is going to be owned. I don't know if they get ownership or the rights or whatever, but their Mongoose will be taking over Traveller. Actually, all the Game Designers Workshop stuff is going over to Traveller. Right? Is going over to Mongoose, and good for them. And I'm about 99% sure that Mongoose isn't going to mess with the OGL, because I don't think it. I think they realize it's more trouble than it's worth, and it's like a handful of publishers making some stuff for a game system that's already been changed thoroughly. It's not quite Mongoose Second Edition anymore, right? So Traveller Second Edition. So I don't think they'll change much, but just in case, we don't want to deal with this, and the Nomad's rules we've got are actually pretty interesting, and they're released under Creative Commons, and there's an SRD, and that's it. So I think I'm not. Don't quote me on this in terms of that can change, but from what I'm seeing, we're going to be moving into our own in-house gaming systems a little more.
I think one of the lessons from the OGL was that it's just better to have your rules just in case, and don't be dependent of any other system. Yeah.
Right. And that's I was thinking about stuff to talk to you about, and we can talk about this. Is it just me? Like, I was thinking about, we're doing a very DIY sort of thing here, right? Like, this is very do-it-yourself. This is very, small groups, and we're very fortunate to have access to amazing publishing tools, and we can make it look extremely good. We can do everything ourselves. It's very punk in that way, right? Like, we're able to do things ourselves, and we don't answer to anyone. And I'm noticing, is this something in gaming? Is this something in music and in general? Like, is the hobby moving towards a much more sort of corporate, is just more and more, not just, I don't just mean Hasbro for D&D, but even, things like Mongoose, right? I mean, Mongoose is its own company, and now it's got more properties and products, and it looks very shiny. It's very beautiful material. They've got some great art direction. But I just wonder, is this consolidation, is that happening? Is it just me that's feeling that it's happening, or is it something that are you guys noticing this too? Right,
maybe, yeah. Because one of the last polemics on the OSR that we were kind of involved when we said we didn't like Shadow Dark, and I'm going to give as an example. Yes, it's an independent game, but it made a lot of money, and of course there was investment on that, of course. But it's a different kind of level, right? When you have a game that does that much, you're not just thinking about it's not your normal independence. And I think a lot of people were looking at that example and say, "Ooh, I like to do that. What do I have to do so I can make a half of that?" So I would say maybe
the devil. I think it's not easy. It's not just okay, I'm going to do 2 million on Kickstarter now. That's not a decision you can make. How you do it, I don't know, but
which makes sense, because at the same time there were a lot of people publishing during COVID. There was an expansion of the game, so of course corporations are looking how can we get more money of this, and it may not work, because in the end a lot of people that are now playing, they may get fed up and move to another thing. So we'll see.
Yeah, the Shadow Dark phenomenon. I got the book. It's a very pretty book. The game is fine. It's there's some parts of it that are adorable, some parts of it that are completely average. The lack of skill system, I thought the lack of skill system was going to be completely fine. My players are craving a skill system of some kind, and so the fact that there isn't one and that it's all attribute based is like, for them, it's like, but we want skills.
Mhm.
It wouldn't work for me. I cannot play a game without skills. It has to be skills.
Right, like
Attributes are one thing. Skills is something that you learned, not something that you are. It's different.
right, and they model it with, you get advantage on stuff, but like for them, especially the guy playing the thief, it's like, but where's my skills for thievery? And I'm like, well, you just roll advantage, and he's like, but that's not the same. I'm like, all right, I get it, like, but there's some stuff in there that's pretty cool. The you can get bonus XP for spending gold and carousing, and there's all sorts of plot hooks involved in that, which is cute. It's an interesting little niche dynamic that they put in there, and all that. But it's I've decided I'm running like a 6 session Shadow Dark thing, and it's fine. But my players actually seem to prefer old school essentials for D&D. It seems to be the layout is comparable. That's fair, but they just seem to like the D&D dynamic of skills and just some of the other little things that are missing. But yeah, look, I mean, the Kickstarter thing is like, that whole Kickstarter had a huge amount of publicity, right? I mean, it's not just right. I mean, they had a huge amount of publicity. They put out a very, very beautiful product. So like, the layout's great. What do you have to do that, right? Like, well, you just have to, the layout and presentation of the product is one thing, but what else? So the Kickstarter, right? Like, they have to pound the pavement, get everyone on board, like get a whole bunch of YouTube channels talking about it.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Yeah, it's
You have to
it's
know the
really
right people or not. If you don't know the right people,
But
they're
I
not
think
good.
that's the thing that is the whole issue, because when Shadow Dark first came out and people were saying, it was like, well, yes, there was this marketing campaign there, and we're not saying that the game doesn't have value because of that, because my opinion for Shadow Dark doesn't count into this. It's just, we're not going to pretend that there wasn't a marketing strategy and that everybody can achieve that.
right. No, that's it'd be lovely. I was bugging Omer. I'm like, we need better marketing, and he's like, how? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not in marketing, man. Like, I don't even know really what marketing is, that's it. Like, it's very much like
So do you know? Do reviews make a difference for you guys?
It's nice when we see our products reviewed. It's even nicer when they're positive reviews. We've had a couple of, over the years, we've had a couple of reviews where we're like, ouch, that's either wildly unfair or like, yeah, okay, I all right, see their point. But I mean, I think so. I think that reviews help for two reasons. One, because just, it's an endorsement. It's actually, this is a good game. You should buy it, right? And you should play it. And the other one is, you should, just the fact that people are talking about your thing is important. I don't know in terms of, like, I haven't seen any numbers. Again, I'm not in marketing. I do know what marketing is, I suppose, but it's it's like, I don't know what the magic formula is to take the whole product line from this level to this level, let alone from this level to this level. Like just like an increment, going from like, you know, a 2 to a 3 would be great as opposed to a 2 to a 7. But like I don't know what that requires, other than maybe just more interviews. I don't know, or getting a couple of big names to review things, or it.
Yeah, but I think that's mainly if someone is if a guy that has a 1,000 or 2,000 subscribers channel does a review,
Hmm.
that's one thing. But if someone with a 1 million subscribers does a review,
Right.
it's something completely different. Many more eyes seeing
Yeah.
those videos, and that's probably
Yeah.
what makes the largest difference.
You know, that's. I guess so. I guess so. I mean, and look, I don't. I don't. I'm not. I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to retire from my day job and start writing and editing full time. You know, we've had a couple of this has been a pretty good year, and you know, I joke that like we'll be able to buy a private island in the Canadian Arctic soon. You know, but it's really like no one. I'm not going full time on this, and no one I know is, except for you, Miguel. You're the only one, right?
I know a couple of more people. Well, the pundit
Right.
full
But you
time,
know,
Grim works full time,
right.
and
But he's also in Uruguay, right? I mean,
James
Yeah.
from Lamentations is
right.
also.
Okay.
So there are a few people. I don't know who else, but probably more people. I can't remember all people
You
that.
know, a handful of people are able
Hmm.
to do it, and that's great. Kevin Crawford, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
You know, who is, you know, he's the success story that doesn't require the huge marketing uh, ploys now, right? Because he managed to hit something that was he managed to tap into the market at exactly the moment when people were like, we really need this,
Hmm.
and for some reason it was just a massive success. And now, like, you know, he's made a reputation, and he's actually he's notorious for not wanting to do any interviews. In fact, uh, the one interview I've ever seen of him or heard of him, because he didn't even show his face on YouTube, was um, it was with that guy who later on was in the there was like it was like a sexual harassment scandal or something on YouTube, where he was doing a live stream of a game, and
oh yeah,
he I don't know exactly what the
Uh,
specific.
the
the strange colored guy, the blue haired guy, right?
Yes,
Right. Okay.
the guy from the consent form or the X card or whatever that was. He was
No,
only
he
the guy
was
that
using
invented that.
Kickstarter, but I can't
Okay.
remember his
Yeah.
name. Adam Coble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so he had one interview. That's Kevin Crawford's one extended interview, right? And he doesn't do any other interviews, and it's like, okay, and you know, all he's basically said, like, look, just use the marketing tools for, you know, the website that we will not name, to promote your products, and that's it, and that's all he does. And I know that's not something you can do, but then again, you also, I get, you know, you've got Discord, you've got Discord's actually been a big help, hasn't it? It's been like it's a huge.
Lately, we have been using it more for the people that are more into the wretched verse are
Right.
Mhm.
discussing ideas and all that. So it's good. It's a good
Yeah.
tool, not for marketing, but for developing ideas.
Engaging with the people that are actually buying the products
Yeah,
and that are
it's
active on. Yes.
Yeah. I really like Reddit, although I know it's a
I can't
cesspool.
use it.
Uh,
I don't know.
you don't use it. I like it because I like um, I find it's just easier to it's got enough of the forum functionality that I can just sit down and write something. And so when I get like, because I'll interact with people, especially if they're asking game mechanics questions and stuff like that. Like Facebook is okay, and Reddit is okay. Discord's fine too, but Discord's like a chat, right? Whereas Reddit, and Facebook, I can sit down and answer a post, like, I can answer in a long form and give everyone, you know, like the full expression of my idea rather than like, you know, like Twitter X whatever is
I like
very
Reddit format. Yeah, the way that it's a forum. Yes, the problem is the people that are on Reddit normally.
yes.
But the format,
I
yeah.
never understood how it works, so I never. I'm not in there anyway, so.
Yeah, no,
And
fair enough.
lately, I've been mostly on Twitter. Facebook is basically a dead place. It's
Yeah. No,
Do you
Twitter
guys still have?
has.
Do you guys still have a lot of people on your Stella Gamma Facebook group? Because we've seen that Facebook is just some groups. They still people still interact there.
Yeah, we have our Facebook groups. There's one in particular that's still pretty active. It's the sort of CPS Engine, like general publishers. Like it's just the CPS Engine group, and so everyone in all the different publishers for CPS are there, and players are there, and that's where we feel that if there's, I'd say, most of the activities move to Discord. And after that, it's probably Facebook or Reddit. And we have very little Twitter presence. It's something that we've like I've put our account there as my name because it's otherwise, I was like, well, let's do this. Ha 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 ha. That's my marketing right there. There we go. That's the extent of my marketing. Yeah, it's very it's Facebook is not really. I don't know what is going on with Facebook. I guess I'm not on Instagram, which I think is more a thing now.
I'm on Instagram, but just to post pictures of cats and food, basically. But yes, and people use it. It's strange. People started using it too much, and they put videos. They use it sort of as a TikTok, and then it also goes to Facebook. And now Meta has this new thing that is Threads, that I guess is like their version of Twitter. Because it keeps appearing in Facebook and in Instagram that, oh, don't you want to try this? No, I don't want to try this new. Stop it.
Yeah, no, that's it, right? I see that stuff on Facebook too, and that's it. Like there are I guess the some things about these platforms that are as a whole useful, but I mean. You basically have to have a full-time person doing Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, Discord, TikTok, and like doing all of this. That's a full-time job, right? And that's
takes a lot of time. It's impossible.
Right? And you have to have you have to install some sort of filter in your brain to like filter out all the junk, right?
Yeah.
I really for at YouTube, right? We can't forget YouTube, and I think YouTube is still the winner. I think.
Yeah, probably. We are not really good at that, but sometimes it works somehow.
I don't know. I think I still watch. I watch your chats. I just watched the one with was it Neckbeardia?
Yeah, Neckbeardia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that guy's got a potty mouth. That's okay.
Yeah, it's funny.
But yeah,
hard to understand as well because that accent is.
But I thought it was going to be worse than it actually was.
Yes.
I thought I'm not going to understand anything.
The fact that you were seeing him, not just hearing him, probably helped. Because in his videos, you can see him. It's just an image or something.
Okay. Is he's Scottish? Irish?
Scottish. He's Irish.
Yeah, but I think his accent sounds more Scottish than Irish, I think. I don't know. It's strange. Neither, probably. It's his own thing.
I get myself in trouble with the Scots or the Irish if I say anything there. It's yeah. So those videos, like you guys putting up videos where I'm listening to someone talk about gaming and their products and the deck of many triggers, whatever, like that. That's funny.
Interesting thing.
Yeah, I've been I've been checking out different videos, and that's it. Like I don't like live streams, or I should say recordings of people gaming. We've actually talked about this before. I find I find it almost
Serious, right?
it's the worst, right? Like watching other people game, it's like that's not for me at all, right?
Yeah,
And that
we record ours, but we don't
Still,
expect that
and I
much.
upload them, but it's obviously almost no one watches it. But I'll let it there.
We sometimes watch it to
Who
see what
knows?
happened
Maybe
in the last session.
we might need to watch them because
no, that's different, right? Like
yeah,
if you're doing a video log for your own benefit, that's fine. I just like I have no like I've tried to, and I'm like, nope, I just don't want to watch this. It's just and that's okay, but I find that, but no, the videos, the reviews, it's useful, just to find out about new products and to find out about what's going on is fine. Some of the controversies in gaming are, of course, silly, right? But they've also been really super helpful. Like finding out that there was a group in Gen Con that was gonna effectively ban Jews from participating in their award show, or the recent thing with this Gamers for Harris. Like okay, I there's all sorts of that political stuff is interesting, although it's you know right, the culture war, right? I mean, that's the culture war, right?
The problem is exactly this. People just kept their opinion and respected other people's opinion. There would not be a culture war.
And where's the fun in that?
Yes, exactly.
all videos about controversies, they have much more views than anything
Well,
else.
actually, you had to delete our video about
Yeah,
Shadow Dark.
I had to read. I don't know. I think there
Was
was
it that one about Shadow Dark?
yeah, it was the second video about Shadow Dark. I had to delete
I'll be
it.
right back. Just a second.
I was getting too much people. That there was a guy that was just writing, and I said, "Okay, I'm going to screw this guy." He was writing huge posts, and I said, "Okay, I'm going to delete this just just to annoy him." And then I deleted the video. I don't care. We are not monetized. I really don't care.
Yeah, it was kind of annoying that you got after almost a month, you still had comments on that video. It's like,
Yeah.
stop, stop! I
Leave
don't
me
want to
alone. I
talk
don't
about
care.
this anymore.
Right? That's good. Look, was it Oscar Wilde, right? The only thing worse than not being than being talked about is not being talked about, right?
Yeah.
Like, look, if that's attractive, it sucks, right? It sucks that that's how people generate publicity inadvertently or whatever, right? They say something, and then like everyone else is like, oh man, look, that's the nature of publicity. That's marketing, right? I'm sure that that controversy has, I'm sure, generated some sales for you, right? Maybe not many, but
I don't
it
know.
probably
Maybe it might have some of the controversies. Well, definitely when we were banned from drive-through, we sold much more during that time because people were finding out about man. Man sold a crazy amount of items.
Can't hurt, right?
Yeah, it was much better than anything that we had
If
ever.
only we had been the ones writing it.
Yes, it would be much more much. If I could replicate that success, but it's impossible. I didn't write it, so I cannot replicate.
You would need to be kicked off of drive-through again.
Yeah, well, that would help. Of course, that would help. I hope
No, look,
we aren't kicked out of Lulu as well, because that would be a big problem.
yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
No.
I mean, but no, I think the video, the stuff about controversy is like, is that's human nature. That's people want to have their moment of outrage and stuff like that, and that is what it is. It's fine, I guess. but yeah, the whole culture war stuff is and YouTube. Wow, I I don't even know where to begin. I just don't. Twitter too, right? Like I'm on Twitter because I want to follow current events, and I'm finding that you know uh, I follow a lot of open source intelligence people, and wow, um, yeah, Twitter's just a cesspool. Like it's just wild, you know.
It's insane. Everybody's insane in Twitter because you just say, "I don't like chocolate." It's like, why do you why do you hate chocolate? But did no, I just said I don't like it, or I'm a morning person. Oh, why do you hate nights? Right? Everything you say, someone is going to be upset with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was Pundit who said that Twitter is the most successful, massively multiplayer online role playing game, and
Yeah.
I think I think that's probably the the most truth I've ever heard in one sentence about social media. Right, like that is that's a very astute observation. Right, like um, everything about Twitter is just a giant role playing game, and yeah, once you take that um, into account, then it becomes easier to handle it. But it's yeah, yeah. How do you you know like we don't at Stella Gamma we don't really want to get into the culture war at all.
Mhm.
We just want to sell games and I don't want to get into we don't really have a lot of like discussion about this backstage. There's not really anything there. It's just like okay, um, we're respectful and we want everyone to buy our games, and so we're going to be respectful and that's it. That we're not talking about all this other stuff. But the problem is how do you get onto a platform and promote yourself without
Mhm.
without engaging in the controversies and you know and be successful, right? Like
For me, it has been impossible. Every
right,
time since the beginning, the controversies went looking for me, so I couldn't really.
right,
But that's one of the things that people told us. Oh, you should have just have an account that should be more
Yeah,
neutral.
it wouldn't
But
make any
what we see
difference.
sometimes is that you want there are some people that actually want you to make a stand. So if and we've seen this, if people try to be neutral, that's not good enough. We're like, oh,
right,
you're neutral. That means you're literally a Hitler, right?
And I don't want to be neutral anyway. So if I had an account that didn't have my name there, it would still be me. I would still have my opinions,
right,
and I'm not paid to do this. This isn't. I'm not doing the social media job, so it's me. I'm
right.
doing the books. That's a different thing. I'm not putting politics into the books. That's a different thing. That's
Right.
my
No,
work.
no.
The other part is
And
not the work. It's not the job.
the issue with taking a stance on a political issue as a gaming company, I mean that circles us back to that whole like that DIY thing, right? Like, and the fact that it feels like there's less DIY. It feels like there's less of a punk ethos in gaming because everyone's telling you you have to conform this way or that way, and it's like, look, you know, my politics are my politics, and I'm not going to tell you what my politics are in my games. That's not the place for it at all. Like it's okay to have those politics. It's okay to be wherever you are on the political spectrum. Or I will I'm sure just by saying it's okay to be, you know, to be where you are on the political spectrum, there's people that are like, no, it's not. It's not okay. And
No, it's not.
sure, I'm sure
Definitely.
there are some exceptions. I don't want to get into these right now, but it's not in the game. It's
Yeah.
not in the game, right? And you know, you just put out a game about Portuguese explorers and um, it's a game about Portuguese explorers. It's and yes, were the Portuguese explorers bastards? Yes, they were. Guess what? That's part of history. Don't shy away from it.
Yeah, we
Don't
do mention that. of course, slavery and
like
all that,
no,
colonialism,
but
and all that.
yeah,
It's part of
but
the
that's
thing.
it. You have to you mention it and you say, look, this is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
You bought a game. You can play it however you want. You can do whatever you want with it, right? We are not in control of how you play. And the fact that like people can't seem to let go of their products once it's out,
Yeah,
right?
that's
The author's dead. I know I mentioned this, I think the last time we spoke. The author is dead. Let go. If you're publishing and you're publishing, you let go. It's out there. It's not yours anymore. As long as the royalties come in, right? But
yeah,
um,
of course.
yeah,
But yeah,
but
there's
that's
that
it.
people that say, "Oh, if you don't agree with me on this, and that, don't play this game." Okay, that's there's an advantage from that. I will never buy that game if I know it. So, but
What?
please advertise on advance so I don't buy it.
Yeah,
If
but
you're going to put it
it's
inside the book,
that's so petulant. It's so
yeah,
childish, right? Like if you don't agree with this, don't buy this game. Like mission accomplished. Yeah, like uh, why would it just it? But here's the thing, right? Like that seems to be the that's not even. But that like that I think they're trying to be rebels
yeah,
in some
that's
way, right? Saying that, like,
that's
I'm willing to stand on my principles. Like, no, you're not, right? Like, you're not willing to stand on your principles because if you were, you know, you'd be doing something else. These are role playing games. Like,
yeah.
enough.
It's,
It
but
just seems.
people are doing the same in Hollywood. This movie is not for you. Then it's a flop. Racists! You didn't watch this movie. Well, if the movie is not for me, I'm not going to watch it. Actually, we don't watch movies anymore. Well, I mean, we don't watch new movies. We watched yesterday. We watched the movie, a
Which
new
one?
one, Reagan. It's the first
Oh
movie
yeah.
that, yeah, in a while. Just because, well, it's full of canceled people. You got there Kevin Sorbo, John Voight, that Nick Searcy guy, couple of more people that were canceled. I said, well, let's watch this. This is a canceled people movie. So I don't know how this happened.
But it also had, we were thinking in Rotten Tomatoes, it has a bad value
Yeah,
from the critics, but it's the typical biopic.
it's
And I think Dennis Quaid does a really good job.
yeah, it does a good job. It's a good movie.
Right.
It's not,
I mean,
a
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a
fantastic.
good movie.
I was trying to remember if it was Dennis Quaid or not Jeff Bridges, but yeah. Anyway, I okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. We watch. I mean, these days it's kids movies, of course. So we just we I took the girls to Wild Robot, and it was actually not horrible. Like I watched
Yeah,
this going like
not
I'm
horrible.
like I'm waiting for the like full blown horrible like just hit me over the head with the hammer. And like, well, look, it has an environmental message. Oh no, right? Like, don't burn down the forest. That's a pretty good message, right? Like, I'm okay with that, right?
That has been a message for some time. For
Yeah, and
20
that
years.
like I'm okay with that, right? Like, and like it's mainly about motherhood and like growing up, and I'm like, okay, no, I'm this is fine, right? It's it was a completely like it didn't there was no at no point was I like, damn it, I can't believe my kids are watching this. I can't believe I paid money for my kids to watch this. No, I was completely fine with it, right? But yeah, we're watching. I can't even say it out loud. It has to do with jewelry. Sorry, with jewelry, and it's the second season.
Oh yeah,
And
I've heard this story.
someone in the house really wants to watch it because she likes Lord of the Anyway,
We
she likes
watched
that sort of thing.
we watched one episode. Yeah, we watched of the
We may,
first season.
maybe
We
we'll talk
watched.
about that next week.
Yes,
I think we'll have the Bold Book Geek as our guest, and is very interested in that series.
and well, he's very interested in Lord of the Rings, and he hates that
Yeah,
series.
Yeah, I am not interested in Lord of the Rings all that much. I like the movies are spectacular. The movies are fine, but I really enjoyed those. But watching we watched the first season, and I'm like, okay, I don't need to see any more of this. And then the second season, I'm like, all right, I guess I'm going to see some more of this. The things we do for love. It really was. It's really not good. It's just not good at all.
even like Game of Thrones.
Here doesn't work because if I try to watch something that Miguel doesn't like and annoys him, even if I can ignore those parts, he's just going to start to
I'm all
complain during the. He totally spoils that. Okay, I cannot listen to you anymore. Let's watch something else.
I'm not going to comment on how foolish or wise that might be, Miguel. I'm just going to say, like, no, I generally, like, we don't have a huge amount of time or energy to devote to like a 2-hour movie when everyone's when it's time to go to bed or anything like that after everyone's gone to bed. So it's like, okay, we're going to watch something that's like maximum an hour, and that is generally lighthearted and funny, or at least entertaining. And so yeah, I just, but this it's bad. Like, it's singularly bad. I'm like, okay, I don't need to watch this.
Yeah.
I told my wife, like, you watch as many as you like.
There are some things that I've watched, but just because I wanted to see how horrible they were. But I just watched one episode.
The Acolyte.
The Acolyte. We watched the first.
We
episode.
actually, I think we watched a little bit of the second one because it was so
Maybe, yeah.
bad. Let's watch a little bit more. It was like, okay, that's enough.
Some
Oh yeah,
others.
no. We watched that one start to finish because it was so bad. We're like, this is how is this so bad? Like, how are they wrecking this? And oh yeah, it's bad. The other one, Rebel Moon. Whew, I watched Rebel Moon in the summer so that you don't have to, right? Like, I watched Rebel Moon, and I told all my gaming friends, like, do not watch this movie. Like, just
movie.
It is so terrible. I know there's a second one out. I'm like, I'll do it. I'll take one for the team. But it's just terrible. Like it's like Battlefield Earth terrible. Like, if you ever seen John Travolta.
Oh yeah, I did. I did watch that one on cinema. Yeah. But nowadays, I think I could watch Battlefield Earth and not feel that it was a waste of time. Probably, if compared with modern day movies, at least there was no message. I think.
No,
Maybe there
There
was
was a Scientology
I
message.
don't know. I don't know Scientology, so probably maybe there was. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
So
the thing about Battlefield Earth is that I invented a drinking game with Battlefield Earth where every time something stupid happens on the screen, you have to shout "stupid" and take a drink. So that if you ever need to, if you ever want to poison your liver, that is the way to do it. But that was that. You're right. At least there's no message that isn't like, Scientology, which we're not going to get into. So it's like, yeah, forget it. But no. These days, like Rebel Moon didn't have a message. Rebel Moon's just a collection of cliches and like it's just and bad acting. I'm like, this is just awful. Like there's nothing about this that's redeeming. Like, the art. Some of the art direction's cool. Okay, some of the sets are cool, but it's just. This is awful. Like, oh no. But no, I
But there's an opinion that I had for a long time is if you're watching a 2 hours and a half, 3 hours movie and you're not enjoying the first 30 minutes, why should you continue? It's the same with a TV show. First, you hate the first episode. Okay, you may try the second episode, but if you still don't like it, you're not going to continue to watch it. I remember some people say, "Oh no, if the movie is really good, you just need to watch the first hour and then, or this TV show is really good. Like about the 5th or 6th episode, it's really good." It's like, well, that's Too many.
It gets much better after 25 episodes.
Yes.
Now the second season is really
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I will say this, that like Andor, the Star Wars series, the first three episodes they're good, but it's slow, and then it picks up, and then it's like much more like what we sort of want to see and expect, and so like we're the same thing with Shogun, right? The first couple of episodes are a little slow, and then it really picks up, and
We were watching it on stream, so we were watching like 3 or 4 at the same time, so we didn't feel for it that they were slow. But then it stopped, and then we went a week or two without seeing it. It's like, okay, what the hell is going on? So I guess we'll need to see it and see it all from the
probably.
beginning.
I would like to rewatch the original one
which one?
with Richard
Oh, the
Shamrock.
original Shogun.
Yeah,
Yeah, geez,
it's not easy to find that.
yeah,
Watch.
I vaguely remember it from the 80s.
I remember it when I was a kid, but that's just vague memories.
That rode the wave of that like huge Japan craze. The Japanese are gonna take over the world economically craze. That moment in the early to mid 80s.
Yeah.
That was everyone was reading Musashi and Shogun and stuff like that, right? Like it was just this that moment in time. But yeah, I enjoyed that, but again, right, like generally not a message, not really. I don't think it was a historical period. Okay,
that
very
one.
nice, right?
They didn't do what Ubisoft is doing now with their samurai game. There's a samurai game where the samurai is a black guy. Not just
gay.
a black guy, a gay black guy. It had to be, of course.
Well, it's all right.
Because the Japanese are not a minority, a racial minority.
Yeah, well, they forgot that part. They should be considered. Well, not in Japan, but in the world.
It's yeah. I don't understand half of the culture war and why we fight it. Honestly, it's and in places like that where I'm like, really, like, okay, you go ahead. That's all right, But oh yeah, right. So I do have some questions. First of all, why do you guys interview so much? It's something that I've noticed. Like you guys do a lot of interviews, more so than
Actually, lately we haven't done that many, but we are planning. Well,
We are
that's why
coming
we
back.
are talking
Yes.
today. Yeah, we are starting again. We had an interlude, too busy, and then there was a problem that schedules sometimes collide. Portugal and the US, mostly US.
right.
But yeah, well, I don't know. We started with interviews. When we started the channel, it was mostly interviews. There wasn't
Right.
Red Room. There was no Red Room at the time, so it was. I was doing the channel was called Red Room, but there was no publishing. I was still writing for Postmortem. I think it's interesting to have some people.
I think it's two things. I would say that first, it's your journalist bone still,
Yeah, still probably.
and I would say that because we are lazy.
Maybe it could be.
It's a lot better to have a guest, and the guest does the talking and will say interesting things, and we don't have to come up with interesting things to say.
Then there's we can talk about different types of subjects that we probably wouldn't come up with for our own videos. So people bring their own interests and.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fair. I was curious because it was something I was looking back at all the videos. And I was like, wow, like you guys.
Yeah, it's not really usual. Most people don't have that kind of. Well, some channels are mostly guests, but that's a different thing.
I think we actually prefer interviews. Yes, though sometimes with the scheduling is hard because I don't want to do an interview at midnight or 1 a.m. because my brain is going to be asleep.
No, that's fair. That's fair. That's why I was like, okay, we're gonna do it 9 o'clock because this way I can be up, and you guys, it's the middle of the afternoon. It's not the worst,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Let's see. We forgot to mention that I did some work for you guys. I did an editing pass on the Alliance Conspiracy.
Oh yeah,
I really
we
enjoyed
can talk about that. Yeah, that was that was meant to be really more historical than the others, probably. But
yeah.
It could have been more historical, but then I started to write almost a dim novel adventure.
Yeah. I think what I liked about that was just how, you know, the mystery itself is pretty well straightforward. Like it's just, you know, it's just a straightforward mystery. There's some politics, there's some historical stuff, and then you know, you deal with this issue. What I've noticed with like a lot of mystery adventures are overcomplicated, right? You can't do that. Like it's almost you're basically asking for disaster, right? Because RPGs don't lend themselves, like they lend themselves to mysteries. You can do that, but you can't make them hyper complicated because it's just not the
yeah, I agree.
I think probably I'm more the mysteries fan than Miguel. So I think our adventures that are more mysteries, they're all written by me. I don't think yours are there. But yes, it's hard, especially because our adventures, they tend to be open. So it cannot be really complicated because people things can go another way, and the game master needs to decide, oh no,
The best way to handle that is to have some side plots that are not really related to the mystery, or maybe related but secondary stuff.
A lot of ready rings to fool the characters and make them go in the wrong direction. I think that also
for example,
works.
red herrings is useful, and just something else, some more material that you can explore.
It depends, right? Like, see, for me, like if you're running a mystery RPG session, then no red herrings, like, or very very little, right? You can't encourage the players to go off track because they will, by definition, they're going off track, right? Like that's what players do, right? I ran a mystery, like it was a full-blown mystery campaign, basically archaeology sort of mystery campaign in my science fiction setting. And the only reason it worked was because at the beginning of the game, the player said, in the campaign we've been playing with our set of characters, we have noticed this thread. We want to make new characters, pick up this thread and pull on it the entire time. We want minimal distractions. We don't, we want to get involved in your setting as it pertains to this thread. And so that was like a 2-year campaign, right? And like that's, in that sense, it was very successful, right? But because I knew that this is what they wanted to do, and they were very focused on it. But for like I've been playing a lot of Call of Cthulhu the past couple of years. I mentioned one of my players is a H.P. Lovecraft expert, and he runs these Call of Cthulhu games, and he's an excellent GM at this. And everything has to be like they have to be tightly designed in the sense of the plot. The actual mystery is pretty straightforward, only because otherwise, like, players are just going to be completely lost, right? Like it becomes too difficult to wrangle the players in any one direction, or everyone's going all over the place, and you don't want to like it. I don't know if it's really conducive, like Call of Cthulhu, if it's really conducive to an open game. Maybe it is like an open setting. I haven't run it at all, so I couldn't tell you. But it seems to me like it would be more conducive to like shorter arcs with characters that are like everyone's focused on one thing, right? And then you go insane at the end, and that's fine, right? But the it I don't know if they like we've got these recurring characters that we use, and uh, we're playing through a whole bunch of adventures, a whole bunch of pre-made adventures, and it's not and it's like over the past year, I think I've played like 4 times, and the characters do their thing, and yeah, they we keep we it what I'm trying to say is it's focused on the specific thing. Like it's they're very episodic, right? It seems to lend itself more to episodic, more episodic structure. I don't know, but
No, you're right. What I was thinking was like with the red earrings is more like false clues that will lead nowhere, but they have to lead nowhere quickly, or make him believe that the guilty part is someone else. There's something that oh, you have the obvious guilty part, but no, it's not. It's not that person after all.
okay. Yeah, that sort of stuff that can work, but it's just you have to be careful not to uh, if you give too much evidence in that direction, the players will just run with it to the end, and then you're you spent 4 hours. They spent 4 hours chasing down a lead that is not true, and then they come back to it and they're like, "Crap, game's the session's over. We'll do this in 2 weeks or a month or whatever, right?" And it's like, oh crap. Yeah, just to keep it there's enough that's going to go wrong, and enough of their own guesses are going to be wrong that you almost don't have to do red herrings. You almost don't have to do red herrings. I just I wonder. I don't know, but the alliance conspiracy was neat. It was nice to edit and do that little pass. I had to control myself. I only edited the stuff that you guys wanted me to look at. I was like, if I do any more of this, it's going to be a big problem. Like, I think that was in the middle. That was in the middle of writing for sort of CPS. So I was like, no, I shouldn't get too heavy into this, too deep into it. Yeah, it's actually. I was going to ask you too about AI. I know that's like almost. I think you guys at this point have led the fray in terms of getting AI art.
Yeah, apparently, and we are marked by that. Now everybody talks about AI. If they are talking about our games, they always bring that up.
And that's funny when it's a book that has the mainly art, like
Human
for
art.
example, Uncharted Cs. So it's all there are some fillers with AI, but mostly
Yes, but mostly the only
Most of the art in Uncharted Cs is human art.
yes, period art.
Public domain.
Excellent.
Most of it is public domain.
Not period art, public domain. Yeah, the cover was a painting that Miguel had to alter because the quality was not good enough.
Yeah, it was a bad scan or whatever it was.
It was a picture of a painting. Yes.
Yeah, probably. So I had to use I had to use AI to improve the characters on top of the page, the gods. But the boat, it's the ship itself. It's the original one, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
inside it's mostly.
That's that's the joke, right? I guess is that we're at that point, Look, all I will we haven't gone down AI. We haven't gone down the AI road yet. I don't know if we will or not. I will say that I mean we've invented a machine that can capture art and do plagiarism really well. Great, and in my day job, I'm constantly trying to make sure that students actually learn how to write and aren't using AI and trying to pass off AI as their own writing, which is, shall we say, not going well. And that's just what it is. It's but I don't know. In music, I think we had this brief conversation in music, right? Like it finally.
It's doing Perfect
It,
stuff, basically.
but it's been doing it's that's the deck of many triggers video, right? That you guys
The, the country song. That sounds like a normal song. That's not just. Is it a
yeah.
brilliant song? No, it's not a brilliant song. It's a song.
Yeah.
I never
And
listen to good songs on the radio anymore, so it's not just. It's another one, unless they are playing old songs.
I would say that the issue is not if people use AR, but is if people pretend that AR is their own original work. And that will say we use AR for art, but we don't say that it was Miguel that is drawing it.
Yeah, well, those are illustrations. Do they illustrate what I'm trying to illustrate? They do. Okay, that's what they are supposed to do. Just
that's it.
that.
Yeah.
And that's a role-playing game book, not an art book. So the art there is the only purpose. That's my opinion, of course. The only purpose of art or illustrations in a role-playing game book is to illustrate, to be a visual aid to the rest, give the
Yeah.
atmosphere, the right atmosphere, not as an object itself. It can be, of course, if you want, if you have the money to pay Larry Elmer or I don't know something like that. Okay, that starts being something else. But if you don't have the money to pay a really damn good artist, that's just an illustration.
I know that for the Mecha book, we commissioned an artist for four pieces, and they look good as far as I remember. I haven't seen them in a while, but they look good. And we use public domain art for everything else because that's there's a huge amount of it there, right? As long as you're not plagiarizing, then yeah, I mean, objecting to AI art based on anything other than plagiarism is sort of like, well, that's the march of technology. I too would like to roll back the clock on a lot of things, and it's just not happening, right? And I'm sure you guys remember when I was in school, oh, but why can't we just use the calculator, right? And the teacher's reply was, well, because you're not always going to have a calculator handy to do the multiplication. And it turns out, yes, we do.
Wrong.
Exactly.
When I was in high school, we were at the 10th grade. We had to buy a calculator. It was mandatory.
Yeah.
So you could actually do all the.
Yeah. And that's the march of technology. And I kind of wish that my students need to learn how to write.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to learn how to make a 5-minute oral presentation. And if they need AI to write out their presentation for them, then they're screwed and we're screwed too, right? I mean, like, I have horror stories from my friends in doing software development where the people that they're hiring they're not competent. They're not trained properly. They don't know how to do basic things, and it's not because they went to these fancy schools and then they basically plagiarized. They just cheated. They used AI to do the basic tasks that they needed to learn how to do, and now we've got a whole cohort of untrained morons.
That's kind of recent. About 5 years ago, they couldn't use AI. They had to copy it.
They would plagiarize another way.
Using some other way. Yeah. Well,
that's right. And now it's even more plagiarism. And you're like, okay, like, this is bad. This needs to stop. This now the computer science departments for their final exams, it's pen and paper or pencil and paper. Mm-hmm. You have to write out code by hand, like, and even when I was doing final papers at a college, I was making them write out their papers by hand in class because the semester before ChatGPT had been released, and they were all cheating, and it's terrible. But that's different than using AI art in a game. It just is.
Yeah, it's a different thing.
But because I'm thinking like for when someone uses AI, it's obvious. And for example, I now have people that because you can use AI to help your work. Like I know people that are doing coding and they use AI to kind of to do it faster. Like they do the basics. Okay, let me see how I can now. Let me fix this. But you have to put some work there. AI is not going to. And I had an experience at work that we had to do something. Basically, it was a document, a playbook for guiding customers, and people were not doing it because they were busy. This was like on top of our work, and there was a guy that decided that he was going to do it all by himself. But basically, what he did was he put several topics in ChatGPT, and then he gave a full 100 pages document, and then we had to review it, and it was like. This is shit, and this was obviously being done by ChatGPT. Okay, we have to do this all over again. And for some paragraphs, we actually use ChatGPT to rewrite it, but it was like, give me something summarized. The guy just put everything. There were things that were wrong because they were not because ChatGPT just made up, or he thought he was talking about something else. So people that think they can just go into ChatGPT and it will give you all the answers, they're probably going to have problems when they submit
The teachers are going to find out about it.
paper. Yeah.
Yeah, for example, I have a student who just handed in a practice essay. All my courses are 100% exams. They're 100% finals. So he handed in a practice essay that's designed to help him learn how to write properly. It's not worth any marks. So he can, and there was a massive, massive error in it. And I'm like, this is not a human error. It literally said that the Soviets made it to the moon first. I'm like, this is such a huge error that there is no way a human did this.
I don't know.
Well, maybe. It just seemed like it was, but it was so well written. You see,
Oh, okay.
so right. It was so properly written.
Yeah, usually it will be. Yeah.
I know.
I was going to say that I've read some notes that's when I was in college. I didn't take notes. Never take notes. I didn't even go to classes actually. So what we did was, and most of the guys in the class did the same thing. So the female students they went to the classes and then they took notes, and then we'd photocopy them and we'd have our. I read such shitty things there, and yeah. So the kind of thing that you were saying, but they wrote. It wasn't just that; it was badly written, all the way.
There's a whole bunch of classes that I didn't go to that I should have. But no, and you know what? Right? It's gonna come and bite him in the ass because he's gonna have to write a paper in the final exam, and hopefully he's not gonna, like his writing is not that as good as I saw, and I know this because I have them do work already, and they're gonna come in and they're gonna write their papers, and we'll see. And hopefully he won't get something so glaringly wrong that it's clearly AI. And he used his phone on ChatGPT to write the practice paper for him, copied it out by hand onto the paper, the line paper I have him submit on. I'm like, why? Like, it's not worth anything. You shouldn't even do it. At that point, you shouldn't even write it. Like, all you're doing is wasting time copying something else's paper. Like, why do it?
Not just about learning how to write. He needs to learn how to think.
That's it. We're going to see some interesting changes for the worse because of this. And as a teacher, I apologize for my part in it, but that's it. But no, the I don't know, the AI art controversy is basically it's done, right? I'd like to say it's done. I know that on drive-through you're not supposed to use any. Okay, right? Or is it AI content? There's some restrictions on AI content, or at least you have to flag it as AI. I can't remember exactly.
When we were there, that was the thing. Yeah, you had to flag it.
Okay, you have to flag it, but
I don't know. It might have changed.
I'm not paying that close attention. But on, I mean, it's done, right? I mean, it's done. If all you have to do is flag it, then it's a done deal, right? It's going to be, um, you know, it, it, and anyone who's opposing it is basically it's Luddism, right? They're not they're holdouts.
No, it's becoming more difficult not to use it because if you go to a stock art, one of those stock art sources, they are full of AI as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So what are you going to replace it with? Well, there's there's still some human art there in stock art places. You either use those or you have no other options, or you can commission everything. But commission everything is impossible in role-playing game businesses. Absolutely.
Unless you are wizards, but that is the thing for
For
the
corporations, they can do it, but no one else can. Small publishers can.
Except that at Wizards they're being caught using AI art and trying to pass it off as human art. I mean, yeah, because it's a cost saving measure that makes financial sense. Because, like you said, the art in RPGs is designed to evoke mood and basically help sell the product. It's not an artistic statement itself.
Yeah,
you
could not use any art. It would be basically
right.
it's just because why do I use it? I could not use it, but I'm doing this also for myself, and I like to have a decent looking product. So
yeah, that's it. That's it exactly. You could write technical manuals. Yes, they are technical manuals.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I don't understand.
A dungeon, you have to put it in there, a map or something like that. But besides, the rest of it is just visual aid, nothing else. It's not really strictly needed, but it looks better.
It looks better, and it helps set the stage.
Yeah.
Right. But that's we're at the point where we're still deluding ourselves that or some people are still deluding themselves that RPGs are art. It's like I don't think so.
They are
exactly.
Yeah, there are people that will say they are, but no, they aren't. It's not. And computer games are not art as well. This is not art.
Some can be made in a little bit more artistic way,
yes,
but they're not art.
That's just pseudo-intellectual masturbations. It's not really.
I mean, think of it like this, right? Like, you can have really nice china, and you can have the day-to-day plates you eat off of, and then you bring out the really nice china. That's what we're talking about here, right?
Yeah.
You can have a beautiful coffee table RPG book, and when people come over, they can discover that you're a giant child nerd, and that's fine, right? If that's what you want, right? Or you can just have but that's not what they're for. You're supposed to play them, right? You're supposed to play them. You're supposed to eat off them every day. That's what you're supposed to be doing. And I just don't. That whole aspect of it. It's something that with Stella Gamma, like we commission a cover, we commission a couple of pieces for our book, and then everything else is stock art, and often it's the black and white, stock art from the early the style from the early days of gaming, because that's what we can afford, and that has a certain charm of it all of its own. But it's not intended to sit on your coffee table, and it's not a conversation piece that you break out when you're trying to impress people about how intellectual you are. I just I just don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't like those. The artistic games, I also have no interest in those. It's just they aren't playable mostly.
No, they're not. And if they are,
you have to change things.
I don't want to buy that. I don't want to buy that. Yeah. I mean, I really love this cover. I love the sort of CPS 2E cover, the wraparound cover, and it's like it's almost a heavy metal album cover, right? Like it's almost like a 1970s heavy metal album cover, like or prog rock cover, and I'm totally down for that because it's supposed to feel like that, right? Isn't it supposed to feel like that? And you're supposed to be able to. We've switched almost exclusively to the A5, the digest format, because we want them at the table, right? We want them at the table so that when you're playing, oh, I need to look up a thing. It's there. It's handy. It's small, right? Like here's a game we played. We played a one-off of it this year, Cyberpunk Red. And it's cool and it's super pretty, right? Game's fine, right? I'm not putting on my coffee table, that's for sure. Mainly because I have children, but also because I just wouldn't put it on the coffee table. But yeah, and also the other thing too is it's an accessibility in terms of price point, right? Like that book, that Cyberpunk Red, that was like $70, right? And you can buy sort of CPS as a PDF. I think it's $20 maybe tops, and this is what 30. I don't even know what the price is, right? And the whole point is to get you playing, is to play the games. We'll make them cheap so that you can play them, and that's it. And do what you're supposed to do with them. I went to a giant hobby store in the mall, and this I think is the like I was looking at this store, and it's huge. I mean, it's a massive space, and it's a one-stop, not just hobby. Well, it's a geek emporium, right? So it's this huge place of Imaginaire, and you've got collectibles and cards and Lego and a whole wall of stuffed animals and a whole wall of those bobblehead sort of what do they call that? I don't know what they're called.
The pops.
Yeah, that's it. Right.
Fun pops.
Yeah. And all sorts of board games, right? Board games as far as the eye can see, and Harry Potter and Star Wars, and they have an RPG section, and I went looking at the prices, and I almost had a heart attack. Like, if you want to start playing D&D 5th edition, and you buy them there, I mean, you're spending. If you want to be the DM, you're spending close to $200, right? Like,
Yeah, that's a lot.
For the DMG, for a monster manual, and for a player's guide, you're spending it's 200 or more. A Canadian, of course, right? So that's a different story. But it's still like it's a lot. I think like this is one book. Right, for $30, you're good to go. Get a second one, or you've got the PDF handy on your iPad for the table, right? You've got that, it's unbelievably expensive, and I wonder, like, there's that corporate sort of mentality versus the DIY thing again, right? Like, we're doing. I'm trying to think, like, this Cyberpunk Red is the last book I bought that I bought it last year, because I saw it on the shelf in a bookstore. I was on vacation, and I said, well, everyone else is getting presents, so I'm going to get myself a present, right? And it's the last book I bought in a gaming store, right? And that sort of thing, like, I think, okay, everything else is DIY, print on demand, PDFs. Why are we entertaining these large companies that aren't producing good products?
And that is the gaming as a brand or a lifestyle brand. It's mostly with D&D, but maybe some of the other gaming companies they want to emulate that. Yeah.
You have to
Gaming
pay.
as a lifestyle brand.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose it's doable, right?
I think it's mostly with D&D because you see, especially on Twitter, those
People play
5e
D&D
people.
and they don't even know there are other
Yeah, they was when they use the expression
Play
playing, yes, running D&D instead of playing a role play. And actually, I remember when what was the name of the TV show based on Cyberpunk Reds?
Oh, Edge Runners.
Yes, and people were saying, "Oh, how can we play Edge Runners with the? How can you can use D&D to play Edge Runners?" And people, of course, were making fun. Do you know that actually there's a role playing game that you can make?
Yeah, D&D is yeah.
We actually on Friday I had a day off, and I took the girls to there was a convention, a gaming convention downtown Montreal. But we showed up too early, and it doesn't seem like there's any way we could make it for the rest of the weekend. And yeah, my 10-year-old and my 6-year-old play old school essentials, right? And they've got a magic user and a thief, right? No problem. And they're asked, well, what's your favorite character? Like, so they're, oh, you play? What's your favorite character? And they're like, well, they're sort of asked this, like, okay, so what's my favorite? Well, it's my magic user. It's like, well, don't you mean like a wizard? It's like, no. And the same thing with, well, we're also there was a language barrier because my French is good. I think my 10-year-old's French is about as good as mine, and I couldn't remember how to say rogue in French, right? Because I didn't want to say voleur. It's like a robber, right? Like a thief. It's not quite the right translation, right? But yeah, like they don't play D&D 5, but I think at this convention it would be largely D&D 5, right? Which, look, it's fine, right? But there's so many other games, not just mine and not just yours, right?
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff, and not just new, also old stuff that's still around, like D&D. Maybe not as old as
The original
almost.
Cyberpunk that I think is better than Cyberpunk Red.
Yeah, I bought their quick start or something. They called it something else, but it's the box with the
Right.
short rules. I didn't like it. I just said, nah, this is not for me.
We actually recently, when we released FTL Nomad, we released a quick start rule set with an adventure for free, and that's the way to go on PDF. Like, just release this stuff for free. It's the best. I think it's the best calling card, right? Is here's a set of rules. Here's some characters. Here's an adventure. Go play the game, and then you could, for free, and then you can buy it for, $20 or whatever, right? And there you go. There's your, $20. You've had an evening's entertainment, and possibly, infinite number of evenings afterwards, right? That I think is the calling card, right? And it's something that I think I'm going to try and work on. Coming to think of it, I'm like, you know what? I need to sell more games. Let's make some more like free intro adventures, so that everyone can play this game without dropping any money, and then they can drop money if they want, and that might be it.
Yeah, I think freebies are.
We do this now, and we do this now and then, and we have a lot of free products, and I think it's a good strategy.
Yeah. In our case, it's difficult for people to find them, but there's always more search for free stuff.
If you believe in your product, in the quality of your product, there's no you don't think you're going to lose because you're giving some things for free. People
Exactly.
will see, and then they will come back to buy.
They weren't buying anyway, so
right. And we're also in an era now where, like, unless you work really hard at it, anyone can find you and ask you questions, right? And that's great. Like, if you want to be accessible as a writer, as a game designer, it's it's great, but you can't. Like, I wonder though, there must be. I mean, I want to see your games out there more, right? And not just on one website. And it's bugging me. I'm like, I'm not a marketing guy. I don't know where they would go, but there must be a way. You know, there
Yeah,
must be a
well,
way.
the drive-through is almost a monopoly, so it's
Oh yeah, I know. And, well, look,
and
it is.
Lulu could invest more in their role-playing games section, but apparently that's not their thing. So
Well, they're just a sort of general printing house, right? Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
no, but they sell ebooks as well.
oh, right. But there must be other. What about like Amazon?
Amazon takes a huge cut from sales, so it's just.
Right.
And I uploaded a couple of things there. They never sold, so I don't think it's probably people don't go there searching for role playing games. I don't know. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Or only be their corporate games, let's call it like that.
Yeah, probably that. Yeah, if you are looking for something
Right.
independent, you don't think Amazon, probably.
Oh, there's always itch.io, right?
There's that thing, yes, but I don't know if it's.
I don't know much about it either.
No, I think it's very woke.
I know it's
Oh,
very.
That are there, yeah.
Well,
We are on Giant Slayer, that is a small independent, but they don't have a lot of traffic. They're still trying to grow.
No,
That is,
it's.
Giant Slayer. I think that's on the nose. That one. Yeah. All
yeah.
right. Fair enough.
I think our store is still probably where we sell more, and then it's Lulu.
Yeah.
Sometimes it changes because people when they are purchasing stuff on Lulu, they usually buy more than one just because the shipping costs usually are better in that
Exactly
case.
what
So
I do. Yeah. That's exactly what I do.
some months there are many sales on Lulu, some months not as many. But it's basically that.
Do you? Okay. Well, that I'm brainstorming on a live recording, so I'm gonna stop because otherwise that's silly. But it's also 2 hours, so
Yeah,
I think maybe
well,
we cut this.
we can wrap it
Um,
up.
yeah, I'm really thankful to be on again and be interviewed again. I like our interactions. Um, yeah, so I'll tell you again. Like we're going to be releasing Mecha for FTL Nomad, which is construction rules for pretty much any mecha you want. Although it's pretty abstract. I won't get into it, but I don't do a nuts and bolts sort of treatment. So we've got FTL Mecha. We've got a whole bunch of stuff like sort of Cepheus second edition. Get it for the album cover alone. You know, Spacecraft Go, Synthoids, and Customs Job, all for Nomad FTL. There it is. Here it is. Nomad FTL, FTL Nomad. Escape from Miklagard. The second, the reworking for Sword of Cepheus is out. What else? Oh, and yes, stay tuned for stuff like Solar Sagas for Nomad, for FTL Nomad, and other I don't know, other Stella Gamma products. Certainly, we will have lizard people or gecko people in them at all times.
I think we'll need to make this next year, in a year, more or less on this time, we need to come back again and say what you done this year. Let's.
Well, yeah, and hopefully it'll be, next year for sure. If not sooner, that's fine.
If not
too.
sooner, exactly, because I'm thinking, because if it was in December, it was more or less.
Well, if we
year.
keep on doing more guests, bringing more guests to the show, it will probably be sooner.
Be sooner, yes, because I'm just
There's a
thinking.
there's a limited number of people you can invite here.
Or that you want to invite, not just that you can.
Yeah, that you can and that you want to. I don't want, for example, I don't want to invite Justin Trudeau, but he wouldn't come as well. So that's
Well,
fair.
you never know. He might be out of a job soon, so you might. We're. Oh man. No. Don't get me started on Justin Trudeau. We. My country is run by deeply unserious people, It's not even the ideology. It's not even the ideology. It's just deeply unserious people pretending to be very serious, and anyone who's paying attention can see that we're in deep trouble. I don't want to get any further than that. We are in a bad state, and I yeah, I'm just hoping that things are going to change soon, and waiting for them to not change soon. So that's it. Anticipating a nice slow decline, and hopefully we'll talk in less than a year, and things will be different. So
Let's end this on a depressing note because it's
It's always good.
it's the red room. We have to
Exactly.
keep it up, guys. Keep it up. We'll
Okay.
talk soon.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.